Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Thursday, and welcome back to our series Witch Life. And this segment is called The Mirror and Setting Spiritual Goals. It's customary in our culture for people to make resolutions for the calendar new year, and it's not terribly uncommon for pagans to follow suit and observe this particular tradition. Now that we're most of the way through January, it seems like a good moment to check in and just see how we're doing. Talk about these goals we set, especially our spiritual goals, and whether or not we're making any particular progress. Because breaking New Year's resolutions is also a tradition. So it doesn't hurt to take a look in the mirror and see what are we doing with our goals. We may discover that obstacles we've encountered aren't rooted in a lack of desire to achieve one of our goals, but rather the method we've chosen for that goal just isn't really working. Now, we haven't broken our resolution if we do go back to the drawing board and we start working on finding another approach and then taking another tack at it. And also understanding why our first attempt and our first method didn't work, particularly if it seems like just wasn't going to work with our lifestyle. Knowing that is just as useful as having an initial success. It can help us avoid repeating mistakes and being more sensible when we make future plans. The next thing about our goals is, is what we thought we wanted to do what we actually want? Sometimes a goal just doesn't prove to be as interesting or as useful or as desirable as what we first thought. And if that's the case, it's probably time to change gears. It takes a lot of energy to pursue a goal, especially if it involves a new field of study or learning a new skill. We'll need to be excited enough about the goal to then invest our time and energy into it. Because if that isn't there and we honestly don't think, well, this isn't really worthwhile, we're not going to do it. We're just not going to. Let's be honest about human nature. And it's okay for us to change our minds and to take action when our circumstances and our priorities change. Maybe there was some great big upheaval this month in your life and you realized, oh, everything I was planning on doing really needs to take a back seat so I can focus on what's actually in front of me. And that also includes making spiritual adjustments as well. So, when it comes to our spiritual goals, what I'm not going to do is to suggest specific goals for anyone, because odds are that anyone watching this video, you've probably are self-taught and you've probably been charting your own course for your studies for quite a while, and you don't necessarily need input from me or anyone else about what direction to go next. But what I will do is encourage practitioners to take a look at their weak spots, much as we discussed in last week's video in this series. If you've perhaps been super focused on herb lore, maybe it's time to start learning about crystals because you don't know very much about them. Or if you've been completely into astrology, maybe it's time to take up some practical kitchen craft because you just don't have as much experience with that. Or you've done a lot of work on your chakras. You might switch gears and take up divination because you haven't fully explored it. The idea is to take our weaknesses, work on them, expand our knowledge so we become more well-rounded, more well-educated, and more experienced as practitioners. Now, when it comes to our strengths, what would it mean to take that strength up to the next level? How would you envision that for yourself, or how would you measure it? One possibility is to set yourself the challenge of figuring out how you would teach your area of expertise to someone else. There's a great need for competent pagan teachers, and if you can add your voice and your perspective and experience to the mix, that helps perpetuate our craft, and it starts allowing new practitioners and even experienced practitioners to compare and contrast different approaches, different techniques, different things that people have learned, and it helps us all become better informed. And again, that's all part of being more well-rounded, more well-educated, more experienced. Another thing we might do is when we contemplate our spiritual goals is to ask ourselves, what was our initial vision when we began our path? What motivated us? What did we hope to get into it? How did we hope to develop? And is that vision still essentially what we're after? Is that still what we hope to do? How does our status quo compare with all of that? And if our long-term vision has changed, have we made the necessary adjustments in our lives to make that come into fruition? So again, this is just another way to kind of just take our pulse, see where we're at. Is it what we initially thought we wanted? Is what we thought we wanted is that still the same, or have we evolved along different lines? But, making sure that we're moving forward. And this is something that no one else can do for us. I mean, I can make every video in the world saying, let's grow and develop, but it's really up to the individual person to say, okay, I want to go this way, or something happened and I find that I need to learn about this over here. Whatever it is that we need to do, we need to learn to become self-generating, self-motivated people so that well, as we do identify areas that we need to shore up on, or areas in which we need to gain greater mastery, that we have enough internal energy within ourselves to go and pursue that. And that way, when we come to other people for counsel or guidance or just brainstorming, we're not relying on them too much. We're able to have a good, helpful exchange within our community to where, everyone is contributing something and we're all acting as a mutual support system, even as we are taking charge of our own spiritual development. So obviously our spiritual goals, large or small, they're not going to come into being overnight. There are likely to be bumps in the road. Success is going to involve getting into the habit of, getting back up and getting back to work after those bumps occur. We're going to learn about ourselves. We're going to go through a process of refinement. And hopefully in the end, we'll be a better version of ourselves and we'll be a good example of the virtues of pagan spirituality to others, as well as having greater meaning within our own lives, because that's what it's all about. So I think that's it for this week in Witch Life. If you'd like to carry on the discussion, please come see me in Blackbird's Brew on Discord. There's a link to join in the description box below. And as always, I hope you will subscribe to this channel if you have not already done so. Like the video, leave a comment. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.